Good morning, Steve Reed in Chicago with the morning grain comments. We have mixed trade with wheat higher and corn and beans lower. Each market has its own fundamentals. The outside markets, though, seen a big change from a lower dollar, higher stocks to now stocks are lower and the dollar is higher. That change came with conflicting news about the Nord Stream pipeline and Russia reopening it. Yesterday, the European relaxed sanctions on 7 Russian banks. This in hopes that the Russians on tomorrow would reopen the pipeline. President Putin, though, suggested that he wants more relaxation of sanctions against Russian exports, or he may reduce the flow or even eventually stop the flow. And right now, a lot of Europeans are suggesting that they may not see as much supply from the Nord Stream pipeline as thought earlier. So the sanctions being lifted suggests that Russia now has freed up money for grain infrastructure, for freight, for insurance, for buying goods, and allowing them to maybe export. The problem is domestic Russian wheat prices are record highs and the farmers not selling. So the Russians can export now, but they just don't own the grain to export yet. We also feel that none of the talks is considering any Ukraine export corridor, which raises questions about 20 million tons of corn, sun oil, and also maybe some wheat exports that may not come out of Ukraine. As far as the individual markets, corn markets lower as we look at the 10-day forecast suggesting rain and cooler temperatures after this hot and dry weekend. The rain amounts 4/10 to maybe 1 1/4 inch, could be from Nebraska across parts of Iowa into Missouri and central Illinois. We also could see the heaviest amounts up to 3 inches in the Ohio River Valley area. This is just, according to our weather guy, a temporary change in the weather, and that once we get back into the 1st of August, we'll see warmer and drier conditions across U.S. In Europe, some relaxing of the record heat in the Western Europe and UK, but that record heat is moving into Eastern Europe and eventually Russia and Ukraine. I think that in general, the 30-day forecast for Europe is still warm and dry, which lowers their corn crop, raises their corn imports, and maybe their wheat has already been sold out. Still dry in Argentina, and that raises concern about their wheat crop, but there might be some showers next week that might alleviate some of the dryness. It's interesting when you look at China, they're talking about record corn and soybean crops and near record wheat crops, despite some adverse, too much wet in parts and droughts in the north. So in general, the corn and soybean market is trying to price in a better weather pattern in the U.S. The wheat market is trying to price in an Egypt tender, and many North African and Middle East countries need to buy wheat, but not a lot is offered from different sources, and they don't have necessarily the money to buy the wheat. As always, these are my thoughts and not those of ADM Investor Services. Have a good trading day.